Hi, my name is Stanzie Langtree, and I want to share with you a little bit about my story and how I discovered my energetic gifts. So I guess as a little girl, I always had a feeling or a sense that there's something more than this. And I was sort of intuitive in that I could kind of sense things before they happened. And I remember even once my aunt was telling me how as a little girl I would talk about this little boy that I would talk to upstairs. But there were no little boys in this house. And so she always thought that I was talking to a ghost. And so there were always these kind of instances where I just had a connection to something beyond this just physical realm. I remember as I got older, I was really connected to horses. I loved horseback riding, and I read this book on how to connect with animals telepathically. So I remember once trying to actually practice this and connect with the horses on my aunt's farm, and because one of the horses had some like an injury with his leg, and so I tried to connect with him and get like information about what he needed, and it was really interesting because I had this information come through of these like different elements that he needed, and it turned out that the veterinarian came in the next day and he actually recommended these things that came through. So it was really interesting how that happened, but I never paid much attention to any of this. I was definitely curious when it came to spirituality, and I studied that quite a bit when I got into high school. And but I was very linear. I was like on the path of becoming a veterinarian, and then when I was in college and studying, I started going to yoga, and that started to speak to me more because there was a spiritual aspect to the yoga practice. And so I started getting more curious, and eventually I got connected to a chiropractor, and she was doing kind of more of an energetic type of chiropractic technique on me, and I was so intrigued. And so I decided last minute, even though I was already planning to go to vet school, I decided, nope, I'm canceling that and I'm going to chiropractic school. So I go to chiropractic school, and I actually lost sight of the energetic part of the chiropractic that my chiropractor was doing on me. And so I just was once again back into that linear focus mode of like, I'm going to be a chiropractor, I'm going to do all these things, and I was even going to be a sports chiropractor. And it was at the very end, once again, of my chiropractic college where one of my yoga students, so I was teaching yoga at the time, came up to me and said, hey, you should go shadow this chiropractor. He does this very different technique. So I go and I shadow him, and here it is, that technique that my chiropractor had done on me before I went to school. And I was like, oh, this is it, And so I was just so amazed. And so the technique is called network spinal analysis. And this is a chiropractic technique. So it is based on the spine and releasing the tensions through the spine, but there is an energetic component to it as well. And so I got immersed in this and started doing network in my practice in Portland, Oregon. So I started doing that, and I started doing studies into different energetic practices. I connected with these beautiful women who all had different energetic gifts, and I started to really explore my own energetic gifts and start to really trust myself in working energetically with people. And the more I trusted and started experimenting and just opening myself up to divine energies, the gifts started coming through even more and started developing more, and the intuition started to develop even more. So it just started building and building. And then I just got to a point where I realized that being within this structured technique that I was doing in chiropractic was no longer enough. It was holding me back because I had these gifts that I was called to give, right? And that's the energy of connecting to your soul and those gifts and the calling. So I started to really trust that and started to do a lot of work with different sorts of energetic healers, people who work more in the shamanic realm, acupuncture, people who channel, and also just studying and researching a lot of those different avenues, and once again doing my own exploration and trusting my intuition, and then seeing how all these things manifested and created from this energy that I work with. So from there, I created my own energetic technique, or it's not even a technique. It's ultimately, it's how I connect to divine and how I help other people connect to their divine, their highest self, their soul essence, their calling, their gifts. And it's a beautiful thing. And so I call it an energetic alignment because I am helping people to align or connect to their highest self, and from there downloading all that information into their physical body. And so I have another video that talks more about that in detail, so you can check it out. But that's basically my story. And since I really started to trust my gifts and start to share those gifts, all these things have really opened up for me in regards to, let's say, working with Tony Robbins and other influential people, and really being able to work on such a bigger level and help connect and inspire people on a global level. So it's quite extraordinary. So that's my story, and feel free to reach out to me and connect with me and ask me questions, and have a beautiful day.